Welcome back to the DNA Sports Report. I'm Kate McGowan here with Dave and Adam. The Sabres finally strung some wins together after a tough February, and it just came in time for the upcoming 4-game road trip. The rest of America got to see the value of Ryan Miller to Buffalo in the Olympics. U.S. Sabre fans knew he was the key to a playoff run far before that, though. But what about the rest of the team? Adam, what are the other players,
I think their most important player on the defensive end of things would be the rookie Tyler Moyer. He had a goal and 3 assists against the game against the Dallas Stars. He's second in points in rookies right now. He's got 27 assists. I think he'll win the Rookie of the Year. He's done really well for the Sabres this year. Has been a catalyst on defense, has worked really well with Henrik Talinder. So I think he's a big person on the Sabres team. I think he'll win Rookie of the Year and has really sparked the defensive aspect of the team, Dave.
When I'm looking at defense, you do need Tyler Myers to keep playing the way he's playing, but you also need your captain and your veteran Craig Rivet to step it up. He's had a trying year all year. He's been benched almost multiple times this year. He's the captain of your team. You're picked the captain by your teammates for a reason. He needs to start setting an example for his team. He needs to go out there and get a lot of assists. He needs to start shooting from the blue line, which he's not doing. The Sabres have a great record despite how he's been playing. And if you think he plays his A game and he plays the way he needs to be playing, you can look at that and say this team couldn't be unbeatable, but he's not been playing that way for some reason, so he needs to step up on this game.
Well, what about the offensive side of the ice, Dave?
Tim Connolly, arguably he's been the best player on this team all year long. On the offensive side, he's leading the team in assists, leading the team in points. He passes the puck, he shares the puck, he makes plays happen. He is one of the main reasons, aside from Ryan Miller, that this team is doing so well. And if the Sabres hope to continue their winning ways and get deep into the playoffs, they need to get Tim Connolly needs to keep playing the way he's been playing, and they need to get production from other players as well. So, Adam?
Yeah, I have to agree with you there. The re-signing of Tim Connolly was great for Buffalo. He's come up big in certain games. He's had a couple overtime winners, which has been key. So he has been really the offensive catalyst of the team. But you also got to remember Derek Roy and Jason Pominville. Derek Roy also in particular doing very well this season. Has got a career in goals right now up to this point in the season. So he's doing a really good job on the offensive end as well. Watch for him to make an impact towards coming to the playoffs.
All right. The team heads south now for a 4-game road trip. Dave, what do you expect from Buffalo in this late season road trip?
Yeah, they're playing 4 sub-500 teams. On paper, this team should go 4-0. They had a tough overtime loss to Detroit, just a few days ago. I personally think, look at the way this team has been playing, that they will indeed. I think they'll go 4-0. You're playing Atlanta, who really only guy in that team in Atlanta is Clark MacArthur, who, he has a score to settle. He just got traded recently to them. And you look at Tampa Bay, Florida, and Carolina, Sabres do have a score to settle with them. They did lose a couple of these teams. I think the Sabres will go 4-0 and get some much-needed 8 points to boost them up in that Northeast division.
Yeah, forgot Maxim Afenagenoff also on Atlanta has a score to settle with him as well.
No one cares about him anyways.
Yeah, but he's done pretty well in Atlanta. They should win all 4 games. The only really game that stands out to me that might be worrisome is Tampa Bay, because Steven Stamkos, coming off his rookie season with Tampa Bay, has done a really good job for them, has really picked up his points offensively. That's the only game that worries me. Also with, Vinny LeCavalier and Martin St. Louis on the team as well. They got some offense. So hopefully they win all 4 games. I think they will, but Tampa Bay will be the test on the road trip.
We're going to come back to you. The NHL season is winding down with just about a month left in the schedule. Adam, who are your top 5 contenders?
Well, I'm going to go with the Sabres. Obviously, they're a contender. We just talked about that. Other contenders in the East would probably be Pittsburgh with their Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin. Obviously, an offensive threat, and they had some defense with Leopold, has done really well. Washington with Alexander Ovechkin and Semin as well, done a good job in the East. And in the West, I'm going to go with San Jose and Phoenix, who picked up Wolchek-Wolski. They've done a really good job since acquiring him. They got some good goaltending there in Phoenix, and they've really picked up their game. So that's going to be my 5 contenders.
I'm going to give you my top 5 overall contenders. I'm not going to break it down conferences, and this is in order. You got Washington Capitals, who have by far the best player in the NHL when it comes to all around, and Alexander Ovechkin. I'm going to go with Pittsburgh. As long as they got Malkin and Crosby, they're going to be up in the contending. You got San Jose, I think, in the Western Conference. I think the Sabres are going to fall to 4th in my top 5 because, like I said, quality team, but they needed a lot of work. And I'm gonna do a reach here, and you're probably gonna think I'm crazy for this, but I think the Detroit Red Wings, Adam, are another team to watch out for. You look at their play they had the first half of the season, not good, but it's because of injuries. They got Franzen back, and they got a lot of their quality guys they need to come back following that Olympic break, and I think that team is a team you need to watch out for in the Western Conference. Sabres don't necessarily have to worry about them until come Cup time, if that still happens to play out, but I think Detroit is a team that's going to creep up there and do some damage in the playoffs.
I don't necessarily disagree because Detroit has gotten some key players back, but it's all going to come down to their goaltending, and the rookie Howard has done good, but he's also had some pretty bad games where he's been pulled. So it's going to come up to goaltending for Detroit to see how they do in the playoffs.
They also got Chris Osgood running the bench. He is probably one of the best playoff goaltenders the NHL has ever seen. You know, he might not be playing good in the regular season, but he is one of those goalies you do not want to run into in the playoffs. And with him back there, I think Detroit's got a solid chance of doing that.
Let's talk about a big topic in recent weeks, hits to the head and NHL suspensions. First, it was Matt Cooke's hit on Marc Savard, and now we have Alexander Ovechkin's hit on Brian Campbell. Dave, you can start with that.
You know, I think Alexander Ovechkin caught a lot of heat because of who he is. He's a physical player. I don't think his hit on Brian Campbell was that hard. You want to look at a bad hit, you got to look at Matt Cooke. He put out Savard for probably the rest of the season, and okay, one time it happens, but he's been known to do this 3 times. He has a reputation around the league for a guy who goes out to hurt people, and the NHL failed to suspend him, and they suspended Alexander Ovechkin for 2 games for a very, compared to Matt Cooke's hit, a very minor hit. I think, when you look at Matt Cooke, the league needs to deal with him. I think he is just bad for the NHL.
Dave, you obviously don't watch enough hockey. The Matt Cooke hit on Marc Savard in the NHL terms was legal. If you watch the replay, didn't hit him with the elbow, he hit him with the forearm in the head. Is legal in the NHL rulebook as of right now. That will be changing without a doubt. Matt Cooke didn't get a suspension off of that hit. Marc Savard probably out for the season. On the other hand of things, Alexander Ovechkin has had 2 game misconducts for the same penalty. In 2 games, if you get the same penalty within 41 games, it's an automatic suspension. Alexander Ovechkin does this all the time. I think he's a great offensive talent, but a dirty player. If you watch the replay, he literally shoved Brian Campbell headfirst into the boards. Campbell had a broken clavicle and broken ribs. It's unlikely he'll be returning for the season. Alexander Ovechkin got a 2 game suspension, and he deserved it, possibly even more. But the NHL needs to do something about hits to the head.
Matt Cooke put a guy in a stretcher. The guy, Savard, couldn't even move his legs or his hands within the first few minutes of his hit, and you think that's illegal. The NHL might say that's a legal hit, but you can't tell me that that's nothing wrong with that hit. There's a lot wrong with that hit. The guy has a history of doing that. I mean, you look at what happened and a few years back when Ottawa was playing the Sabres and Chris Drury got hit, same kind of hit, but people went crazy because it was the Sabres. You got to look at the hit. He could have killed the guy. It was a dangerous hit. He hit him in the head.
It's a dangerous
hit him in the head.
In terms of the NHL rulebook, it was a legal hit. So the NHL needs to change something, but I don't think it was as severe as Alexander Ovechkin's hit.
All right, guys. Well, we haven't talked about the MLB yet, but with our recent good weather and opening day less than a month away, let's talk about that. We'll go with you, Adam.
I'm going to have to go with Philadelphia. They're making a lot of moves as of late. They added Roy Halladay, great offensive pitcher. They traded away Cliff Lee, and they're talking about moving up Howard.
All right, well, coming up after the break is our look at the Bills' defensive line along with other NFL news and notes. We'll be right back.